Good morning.
Hey, what's up good people, it's YellowMotion here and welcome to a new Tekken 7 video. Yeah, you heard it right, it's really happening. I know it's been a while since I made my last Tekken video where I talked about the game, but hey, better late than never, right? So here we are right now. And since it's been a while, I want to talk with you guys about the current state of Tekken. What do I think of the game, along with Season Pass 3 and its contents? Which characters do I think can be revealed for Season Pass 3? And will we see a Season 4 along with Season Pass 4? And what its contents should be? Pretty much gonna share and discuss with you guys all things Tekken. So guys, let's first start with what's going on currently, as we're a couple of days away from the grand finals of the Tekken World Tour 2019, which will be held in Bangkok, Thailand. And actually, we should see a new trailer of Leroy's gameplay. And like with the previous years, we should also see the remaining contents of Season Pass 3, which in this case are the two unannounced characters and a stage. One character that's going to be released alongside Leroy, and the other one in spring 2020. As we know by now, the new feature is the paid frame data in the game. So I'm assuming that everybody's kind of right now having their own opinions, discussions and thoughts on what they think the two remaining characters could be or should be. And you're probably wondering what my view on it is. Well, a while back ago when Season Pass 3 was actually announced, back at EVO 2019, I first tweeted my thoughts on its announcements, pretty much saying that the two characters, I think, could be either Bruce and Kunimitsu. Not saying that I'm convinced or anything like that, because really any character is possible right now. And I'll tell you in a minute why I think that. But as of right now, I still stand to the fact that I think that Bruce Irvin and Kunimitsu are kind of the right fit for Season 3. And Season Pass 3. You know, you might remember a couple of years ago, even when the game wasn't released, I made a small Tekken video where I pretty much was discussing with you guys which characters I thought were going to be in the game, or at least had a chance to be in the game post-launch. And here we are 3 years later, and it's safe to say that the majority of the characters that I mentioned in the video are now back in the game. But let alone having a roster like this, something like that wasn't even considered possible. But if you ask me, the main difference right now is, when I made that video a couple of years ago and right now, is that I have a completely different thought process and mindset. Because back then, I was kind of thinking too deep, because I took several criteria into consideration whether a character could eventually be in Tekken 7 or not. So things like the story, the lore of that character, the popularity, the usage, the fight style and the uniqueness of that character. So how do I think right now? Well, simple. Very easily. Because all of that doesn't really matter anymore, because I think that it's pretty much a fair game that everybody can be in this game as long as you're willing to pay for that character. And of course, if it would fit into its competitive esports scene. After all, with the horrendous Season Pass 1 and its terrible contents, such as Ultimate Tekken Bowl as the new game mode, people were pretty much begging for their classic characters to return for more than 1 year straight, and even if it meant that they would pay for it. So when Harada announced Season 2 of Tekken 7, the entire contents of Season Pass 2 was pretty much filled up with classic characters. So you would bet your bottom fucking dollar that everybody would pay for that Season Pass just to play with their classics. And it's not like any of them have a real story purpose in the game. What I found was really awkward was that even though all of the classic characters had bios, after what happened with them after Tekken 6 and why they entered Tekken 7, none of that is available in the game or present, because there's no intro, no ending, no story, no character episodes, nothing whatsoever, just the characters with their gameplay. And quite honestly, I wasn't surprised, nor do I expected anything at all, because let's face it, with the shitty character episodes of Tekken 7, what were you actually going to see with these classics and their stories and their endings? So to me, it's very clear that everything right now as far as the season passes is just there for the sake of esports and for the competitive gaming scene, and keeping the momentum going on for the game. And even with Leroy Smith, they introduced him as this badass Tekken 7 character, with a backstory and why he is now entering the King of Arthur's Tournament 7 to get revenge, you know? I do think Leroy Smith looks awesome, his design is great. But seriously, are we actually going to see any of his story in the game once he's available? I highly doubt that. But somehow they promoted like, hey, this is the next thing you're waiting for and you're going to find out once he's available. I mean, even games such as Mortal Kombat 11 that introduces their DLC characters have a legit story mode, a legit ending, pretty much everything that you need to know of that character. It really feels kind of incomplete. And don't get me wrong, it keeps the community going, which is a good thing. And everybody seems to be happy with it, as long as it works for you. So even though I don't agree with everything what they're doing, the majority of the fans seem to be happy. But I don't think that Tekken 7 is an evenly balanced game like it was with the previous one, where it always had a good balance between the pro competitive players and the casual players. But hey, as long as it works for you, If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So yeah, if there's one thing clear to me, then it's that the DNA of Tekken has really changed. The DNA of what a Tekken game used to be back then doesn't really apply anymore. To cut it short, logic doesn't need to be in Tekken anymore, or make any sense at all. It's pretty much anyone can be in a season pass, as long as it doesn't make sense. Because really, don't get me even started on the guest characters, or why they should have a purpose to be in the game, because there isn't any. And I'm not saying there should be a logic with the guest characters, but if you're gonna neglect your classic characters as well, yeah, I don't know, that's your opinion. Just feels incomplete. But hey, whatever works for you, just go for it. So to come back to my question on who I think the two remaining characters can be for Season Pass 3, I would say quite honestly, it can be literally anyone. Anyone that isn't in the game. So think about characters such as Bruce, Christy, Mokujin, Gunryu, Beck Roger, Ogre, Jinpachi. And I know what you're thinking, how can it be possible for characters such as Ogre or Jinpachi to be in this game? Because you have things like canon, non-canon, lore and story-wise. But look, just like I said, I don't think logic doesn't apply anymore to Tekken. Because canon, non-canon, what does it matter anymore? Look for example at Julia. I mean, her whole JC story arc is pretty much in the game, so it's pretty much canon right now, right? However, I do think that there are two key points where a character can be in Tekken 7 or not. To simply put, one is the demand, and the other one is the willingness to pay for that character. Simple as that. So is there a particular reason why I think that Kunimitsu and Bruce could be the two unannounced characters for Season Pass 3? So look, right now we have Leroy Smith and Zafina, a male and a female character, and there are two characters left. So even though I say that there isn't any logic more in Tekken, I do think it's still logical to put a female and a male character in the game for Season Pass 3. So in this case, I hope at least that one of the female characters could be Kunimitsu, mostly because she's still one of those unique characters where she was completely revamped in both design and moveset in Tekken Tag 2. So that's already something that could make the game more unique, as she really stands on her own. And as far as Bruce goes, as cliché and silly as this may sound, just for the reason alone that the Grand Finals is held in Thailand, I think that it's pretty obvious that you would reveal Bruce there, because you would surely make a big splash doing that. You know, because Bruce's fighting style is Muay Thai boxing, and that originates from Thailand, so yeah. Because I'm not thinking about popularity, story-wise, canon or not canon, and I'm assuming just like with the previous years, especially last year, where they revealed Armor King and Craig Marduk, that Leroy and the unannounced character are going to be playable the day after. I really personally hope that we're going to see Kunimitsu back. Whether it is Kunimitsu alongside Leroy or Bruce Urban, we're just going to have to see. But I think that if you want to build up that momentum and the hype in Thailand, the reveal of Bruce could be something very special. After all, you're in Thailand. We'll have to see, guys. I'm just thinking out loud. But there is actually something else I want to mention, something very interesting that I think not a lot of people have taken this into consideration, and it has something to do that's very interesting to me, and one way or another could have an impact on the DLC roster for Tekken 7, for this or the other seasons that's about to come. And it has to do with a specific game that is not available right now, and that game was called Tekken Mobile. Remember that? Tekken Mobile was released back in beta in 2017, kind of shortly after the release of Tekken 7, and the game eventually released globally in March of 2018. But as of February this year, suddenly the pull was plugged of the game, and Tekken Mobile was gone for good, as nobody could play the game anymore. So what has that to do with Tekken 7, you may ask? Well, hear me out. You see, back then when the game was released in beta, I was actually playing the game myself, and I was actually having a good time with it, before the game pretty much went on to be a grindfest. And back then, when I was looking into the files of the game, I found out several very interesting things, such as the roster of the game and character profiles that were planned to appear in the game. So characters such as Alex, Anna, Akuma, Brian, Bob, Eliza, Jin, Miguel, Leo, and Li Chaolan all made it into Tekken Mobile. And the ones that didn't make into the game, that were planned for Tekken Mobile from the beginning, were also characters such as Claudio, Deviljin, Kazumi, Heihachi, Lars, Hwoarang, Lei, Zafina, JC, Alisa, Yoshimitsu, and Kunimitsu. And the proof that those characters were eventually planned to be in the game, but were never released, are actually, right now, in the panel artworks of Tekken 7. Because with the latest update that happened this year, you can see some new panel artworks that have been added for various characters, even for the characters that I just mentioned that weren't in Tekken Mobile. such as Claudio, Deviljin, Kazumi, Heihachi, and Lars. If there was one thing that the game did really well, was delivering some of the greatest CGI Tekken artworks for all the characters that I have seen. So what's the deal with this? Are you saying that the characters that were planned for Tekken Mobile are going to appear in Tekken 7? No, that's not what I'm saying, but you have to look at this from a production side. First of all, making the CGI portraits of the characters means that you actually have to go and make them. So with the launch of Tekken Mobile, several characters such as Bruce Irvin, Craig Marduk, and Christy were already in the game, and all of them had brand new CGI artworks, which means that somebody actually in the Tekken team in Japan had to open up the high-res models, modify them, light them, render them, and publish them, right, for the game. Because as you know, every CG render of the characters are pretty much two versions. You have one for the high-res version for the CGI, and from that CGI version, you have also a low-poly in-game version that's used for in-game gameplay, of course. So that's one thing, but this also did apply to the in-game 3D models of the game, because the in-game 3D models of Craig Marduk, Bruce Irvin, and Christy were new, revamped designs in the style of Tekken 7. And they weren't just reused 3D models from the previous games, such as Tekken Tag 2. And one big example that I have for you guys is when the game was just in beta, they actually used an older model of Christy, but as the game was updated along the way, the new 3D model of Christy was put into the game, and as you can see, this model was never seen in a new Tekken game, as I made this a few years ago, showcasing the differences. And that same logic also applied for Bruce and Craig Marduk for Tekken Mobile. It's fairly the same, and you have to keep in mind that of course for a mobile game, one way or another, the models are a little bit less high definition than in Tekken 7, but it doesn't differ that much. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that there's already been a kind of foundation, work that has already been done during the development of Tekken Mobile, whether it's with the CGI artworks of the characters, or the in-game models, such as Christy, Bruce, and Marduk. So this means that if they decided to put one of these characters in the game, such as Christy or Bruce, more work has already been done than, let's say, starting all from scratch. But hey, don't quote me on this, because I'm not saying this is a definitive thing, but just something you have to think about. Because like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's all about the demand and the willingness to pay for the character to be in the game. And as far as the stage goes, that's part of Season Pass 3. Look, honestly, I don't have an idea what they mean with this. I mean, is this a classic stage? Is this a brand new stage? Is this another stage, you know, something like a new game mode or a new feature? But I think they're going to group this with the character they're about to reveal. So, yeah. And I also think that they're going to announce a Tekken World Tour for 2020, along with a new season and a new season pass during EVO of next year. Because hey, why would you not? Because everything is going well for you and you just need to keep the ball rolling and put out another season pass. So if there is one thing I want them to do for season pass 4 is one of the few things. First of all, I really like what they did with adding a new character like Leroy Smith. So adding a brand new character for season pass 4 would be something great, along with some other classic characters. But for the love of God, for fuck's sakes, please add some real offline contents in the game. And I'm not just talking about small things like, you know, team battle, survival, and things like that. Because honestly, if they would add those modes, I think with a couple of times, the fun out of that just goes away. But if you would add a Tekken fucking Force mode in this game, holy shit, then I will maybe actually start to enjoy playing this game. So yeah, just a couple of ideas that I have right now. But hey, let's just wait and see if they're actually gonna announce Season 4 or not, and Season Pass 4. And as far as Season Pass 5 for Tekken 7, well, that just might be too far ahead. But hey, if everything works out fine for Bamco, and Season Pass 3 and Season Pass 4 are a success, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't announce a Season 5 and a Season Pass 5, and whatever the contents may be for that. But I think that 5 seasons, or maybe even 4, who knows, should be a good deal and a good time to say, yeah, let's call it a day and just release a final, definitive, conclusive edition of Tekken 7 with every DLC and content ever released as one big, ultimate King of Iron Fist, ultimate godlike edition for $49.99 or something like that. And after that, let's just announce Tekken 8 with JinKazshima as the reveal and the gateway to the conclusion of the Kazama saga, and start this all over again. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and also guys, before I forget, and this might be something you have also noticed yourself, as far as an announcement goes, I think it's very noteworthy to say that the date of the Tekken World Tour 2019, which is held on December 8th, is exactly 1 day away of Tekken becoming 25 years old, thus celebrating its 25th anniversary, as the very first Tekken was released back in December 9, 1994. So that's pretty much in alignment with PlayStation's 25th anniversary, which was recently celebrated on December the 3rd, 2019. And And what better way than to celebrate and announce something very special and Tekken related at the special day at the Tekken World Tour 2019 in Bangkok? Well, how about a Ultimate Tekken The King of Iron Fist collection featuring all of the Tekken games ever released? Yes, I'm talking about all of these Tekken games throughout the years, all in HD graphics, all full console versions with all of the extras and all of the game modes you remember, where none of that is available in Tekken 7. And the best part that all of these games have online support for various game modes like Tekken Mobile, and even with online play. You know pretty much how Capcom did it with its Street Fighter Anniversary Edition? Something like that would be so fucking awesome. Don't you agree? Well guys, after everything we went through, I honestly expect nothing. And all I can say is this, we shall see, but the opportunity is just lying on the floor to be something special. Although I do think they will do something special, maybe, you know, release a special customization item, like a shirt with the 25th anniversary of Tekken, something like that. But we shall see, guys. And that's all I have for this video, guys. I surely hope you enjoyed it, and I would really like to know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are on the several topics that I discussed in this video. So which characters do you think will be revealed at this year's Tekken World Tour Finals? Or which characters would you like to see return? And also, what's your general opinion of the game? Do you mostly enjoy it for online gameplay only? Or are you also a casual player like myself that would like to see some real offline content as well? You know, just like how it's been with the previous Tekken games that have come in before for the past 20 years. And with that, do you think Tekken will get a Season Pass 4? And what would you like to see in that? Well guys, I surely would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And as always guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and share it. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to get updates and get connected, you can follow me at YellowMotion on social media. So that'll do it for me guys for this one. Thanks a lot for watching, and I see you guys in the next one. Peace!